Okay, alright.
Welcome back. Hope you're enjoying your Friday as much as I am, and I'm here with another great piece of content. So one thing I realized with my locksmith clients, sometimes when they're doing a key operation, they run into a situation where the vehicle has an underlying condition and they get frustrated. They think it's the scanner that has an issue, and sometimes it does, but in certain cases the vehicle has an underlying condition. So what I wanted to do is share with you guys a case study I did with a client where we're doing an all keys lost scenario on a vehicle that has an underlying condition that's preventing the remotes to be configured back to the vehicle. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this one. It's quite simple, quite easy. So today we are going to learn how to do an all keys lost scenario with the IM608 Pro on a 2010 Jeep Grand Cherokee. For those of you who don't know, welcome to the channel. My name is Curtis Harden. I'm your Autel diagnostic consultant. I sell the tool and render the support and training to the clients I sell to. So what we're going to learn today are the following: tools and equipment necessary to do this procedure, commonly used terms associated with this vehicle, the different immo systems in the Chrysler/Jeep vehicles, and step-by-step instructions on how to do an all keys lost scenario. And lastly, what to do if the remote function does not work after keys are coded to the vehicle. Okay, so here are three important terms that you're going to be coming across working with this vehicle. First is the WIN module, stands for wireless ignition node, and it just replaced the old traditional keyed ignitions. Okay, the WIN is an integrated electronic receiver that serves as a base station in the vehicle. This little bad boy got a lot of responsibility. Okay, a lot of things grow through this, TPMS. You're gonna see there's a lot of stuff that this thing does. Next is FOBIC. It stands for frequency operated button ignition key. Fob is just another word for remote. Okay, so just the remote functionality on the key. And then lastly is active test. So this is on our scan tool. Active test is a function used to access vehicle specific subsystems and component tests. So in plain English, guys, if we have a customer that's complaining that their lights aren't working, the headlamp, you can go on the active test, you can click it, and it will, wake it up and verify if there's communication. It will turn the light on or off. Okay, so that's all what active test is. Now the tools you're going to be needing is the IM608 Pro, and we're going to be needing your remote key fob. All right, and these are just the Chrysler immobilizer systems. I went over this before, but I'm just going to quickly go over it. We have the SCIM and the WCM Sentry Key Immo module. You'll see that from 1998 to 2006, and this is just a rough estimate, guys. We have your screen, Sentry Key Remote Entry module, and your wireless control module. You'll see this from 2004 to 2014. We have your WIN module, your wireless ignition node, 2008 to present day. And then we'll have your keyless go, 2008 to 2016, and then your smart start. So it's a push button without the WIN module. Okay, you'll see this from 2011 to present day. All right, so let's jump into it, guys. How to do an all keys lost. So most important thing is having the proper connection. Remember to have your XP400 connected to the top of the scanner through USB, and we're going to be doing a hardwired connection when we're doing our key coding operations, as the Bluetooth may interrupt with the frequency. So let's go ahead and ID the vehicle. We're going to go to immobilizer. We're going to read the terms and agreement. Click accept. All right, we're going to wait for our VCI to get activated. Okay. And then now we are going to go to automatic selection. So automatic selection will automatically ID the vehicle for us. Okay. And then it's a FOBIC key, so we're going to select FOBIC. And it's going to give us a summary. Alright, so Grand Cherokee, we're going to click OK. And now this is going to be a slot key. You can put the FOBIC key in a slot. So we're going to select slot, switch the ignition off and on again, and make sure the engine is off. Okay. And then from here, we are going to our function menu, which is the immo status scan on the upper left. All right, and as I said before, it's always good to understand what faults we have when we're doing our key relearning procedure. So for example, if there was a critical fault in the PCM module, you wouldn't be able to relearn the key. You would have to fix that condition first, and then you'll be able to relearn the key, okay, on most situations. And right here, the PCM is good, the central gateway good. We do have a problem in the WCM module. So one thing the client did tell me, the tire was low, so I thought that could have been triggering it. So I said, you know what, let's go ahead and click the all keys lost. Okay, and what's good about our menu here, it's very simple. You can see the different steps. We're going to go ahead and click start and start the sequence. So this feature will remove the existing keys that were on a vehicle. Remember, we're doing an all keys lost. So when you do the all keys lost, it erases all the keys. So it identified there was 2 keys. Switch the ignition off, then on again. All right, and then make sure the engine is off. And then now, I'm just going to take maybe 30 seconds or less to get the pin. It's reading the pin. And what's great is we don't need to think about and remember what that pin is. It's going to populate it right back in there so we can get back into the system. And it's going to give us a confirmation. We're going to click OK. Okay. So now it's on step 4. It's erasing the existing keys, and now it's been reduced to 0. Alright, so we're going to be relearning the key. Alright, so please insert the key into the slot, turn the ignition on, and make sure the engine is off. So we just have one key. We're going to go ahead and click OK. Okay, so one key. So if you have another key, this is the time you would click yes. In our case, we're going to click no. All right. And then we're done. So we're going to go ahead and click escape. And what I did was I told the client to go ahead and attempt to start the vehicle. And he did. It worked perfectly. And then he said, Kurt, the immobilizers, I mean the remotes, they're not working. Like, I'm clicking it and nothing's happening. And I was like, really? I was like, click the remote start button. And he clicked it, and we actually heard something in the rear of the vehicle. So at this point I said, you know what? When you took on this job, did you talk to the client to find out any information about the vehicle? And he said one thing that the customer said was sometimes when she would click the remote start button, it would, it wouldn't work, or sometimes it would work, or it would cut off. It wasn't working the way it should. Okay. So I said, okay, so maybe that could be a problem. Maybe there's an issue there. So with that information, I went back into the WCM module and I went to find out what was going on. So you can see here the B1A79, it says remote start antenna circuit open or not connected. So there's 2 possible causes for this thing to be triggered. First is the remote start antenna is probably not connected to the wind module. Okay, so the first thing would be to do is to physically inspect that, check to see if it's connected. Okay, the other case could be that antenna might be faulty. Okay, so that kind of gave me a good indication that, you know, maybe my hypothesis was correct. And then another thing that I see a lot that some people, or at least my client, asked with the B1A25, even though the vehicle is has started, this is still going to be there, and it's normal. All right. The time it would be a concern is if the vehicle doesn't start. Then you need to investigate why there's an invalid key. But this is a normal thing, and you can take this off by doing a reset. So go ahead and this is a picture of the ignition module antenna. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and get out of here. So at this point, what I wanted to do is do a complete diagnostic scan. I wanted to find out what the heck was going on with this vehicle. Why weren't these remote functions working? Okay, so I'm just going to zoom on over here. So this was the scan, and you can see we're back into the wireless control module, and now we have several options. So what's great about our tool, there's a lot of things that you can do to check, you know, parts of the immo system. So I went to system check, and what this is here, it tests the antenna loop just to see if it's working properly. The WCM antenna test will verify if the antenna coil located inside the WCM is functional. All right, so we went and did this, and this pass was flying colors. So then I was like, okay, there's no remote functions here. This thing should be working. What can I do? So what I'm going to show you now, 10% of the time it works all the time. Okay. I went to active test, and what active test does, I explained to it, it kind of wakes up the module. So sometimes the thing is like sleeping, and doing active test, it kind of wakes it up. All right, so I tried this technique, and I'm going to go ahead and select on. Okay, we're going to click OK, and then believe it or not, I scrolled down, and then I told the client, I said, you know what, go ahead and see if it works. And he was like, you know what, Kurt, it's working. You know, we're locking, unlocking, it was going on, the windows were going up fine. The only thing that didn't work was the remote start. Okay, so I said, you know what, I can be almost positive that's probably the area of concern. And I said, what I want you to do is go ahead and share this information with your client. We got the key started. We got the car started. We successfully, you know, configured the remote. And the only thing that doesn't work is the remote start. Okay, so at the end of the day, it was a win. I learned something, he learned something, and you know, the client has a working vehicle. So important things, guys, before we end this, make sure you have a good key supplier that sells genuine keys. Personally, I rather have certainty, especially if you're doing any key coding business. You know, sometimes you can get the key for cheaper, but what happens if it doesn't work and you're doing all keys lost scenario and you got the client right there in your ear? You know, you kind of waste more money. It kind of messes up your reputation. So get a good supplier. Always scan the vehicle to identify any underlying conditions. So if something doesn't work, don't, you know, blame the scanner necessarily. Find out why. Find out why. Do a scan. See if that can kind of navigate you in the right direction. Okay. After keys have been configured and the remote doesn't work, look for any remote special functions. So this is generally speaking. Okay. Sometimes you do have to relearn the remote separately. Okay. If you still have the B1A79 error code, check to see if the remote antenna is properly connected to the wind module. If it is, then you need to replace the remote start antenna. All right, that might be problematic. And then lastly, as a locksmith, it's always good to have some sort of diagnostic skills as it's needed to resolve certain immobilizer issues. So think about it, guys. If we are doing our number one task, which is key coding, and then we stumble across that there's a fault. Let's say the client put in a new PCM, he has no idea it needs to be programmed. That's something that you could do. That's something that you can do. If you have the skills and knowledge to learn how to program it, you can charge him accordingly, and then you can do the key procedure and charge him for that. Okay? So it's good to diversify your guys' skill set, especially now with these vehicles. I find that, you know, just doing one thing, you kind of have to be like a full stack type of technician. Okay? And that's pretty much it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I enjoyed teaching it to you. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe. If you would like to purchase the tool and want me to assist you in similar situations like this, hit me up. Go to auteltech.co.za and book your diagnostic tool consultation. With that, you guys have a lovely weekend, and I will see you in the next presentation. Take care and ciao.